let's get into Katt Williams. I'm surprised how many people sent me this. Like a bunch of people sent me the link, asked if I had seen it yet, if we were going to talk about it. I didn't realize how much crossover me and Katt Williams had. But maybe it's because he just went after everybody. He was on Shannon Sharpe's podcast, Club Shay Shay, and it might be the highest viewed podcast like ever.
Oh, it made the rounds.
It was the last. So what I cut clips two separate days, or timestamp clips 2 separate days. The first day I started it, it had 10 million views. The next day when I went back, less than 24 hours later, it was 17 million. So pretty rapidly. Actually, while we were playing this, see how many views it has now. Because even like the clips of it had millions of views. So it really made the rounds. But I'm curious how much the full episode is up to now. But he went after everybody. So he's kind of been away for a little while. And a lot of people have, if you don't know, a lot of people have gone after Katt Williams for having a drug problem, saying he's crazy. And the one thing I will say about Katt in this interview is, to me, he sounded, say what you want about the content of what he's saying, like the subject matter. He sounded coherent.
Yeah.
He sounded very grounded, and grounded might be the wrong word, but he sounded with it, I guess is my point.
If you had to guess how many views this thing was at, what would you guess?
24 million.
It's at 29,115,076.
Jesus Christ. That's gotta be one of the highest viewed podcast episodes ever, I would think, right?
Have to imagine.
Yeah. That's an episode of The Big Bang Theory, for God's sake.
I mean, Joe Rogan excluded, it has to be.
Yeah. But even like Rogan, I would always hear the numbers thrown out like 11 million or something like that.
I heard that Peter McCullough one that he did was over 50.
Okay, maybe.
I don't know where that number comes from, but
who knows? Yeah.
Right.
This we can see. Thank you, YouTube.
Yes.
All right. So let's just get into it. What is Katt Williams going off on? Because he goes after pretty much, if you're a black comic that's worked in the last 20 years, Katt Williams has gone after you.
Ricky Smiley.
So Ricky Smiley, I know the least about. I know he was in the Friday movies, and I saw his response. I guess he has his own radio show. So he responded recently, but this is him going after Ricky Smiley, who I guess this is where this all starts. Is Ricky Smiley was on Shannon Sharpe's podcast. It's amazing, by the way, that the interviewer that has this is Shannon Sharpe.
I know.
A man who can't speak. As the biggest interview of the year.
To be fair, he didn't have to speak much during this interview.
And boy, didn't he. Boy, did he deliver on that. Thank God. So
he had good instincts to just sit back and watch.
Yeah, so I guess this all stems from Ricky Smiley saying he was originally up for the part that Katt Williams had in Friday.
You gonna set the record straight?
Are you kidding me? You let Ricky Smiley sit here and you said out that mouth, you stole Friday After Next, the one I was in. I wish all of America fumbled a bit when that happened. And then he said some stuff that we haven't heard in 100 years in Hollywood. You ain't say nothing. This man told you he had Katt Williams' role. He was gonna be Money Mike. And Katt Williams was gonna be the Santa Claus. Now let's 3 quick points. You mean in Hollywood they cast a 5'5" black Santa Claus that weigh 145 pounds? That's your
Hold on a second. That would be great. Katt Williams as Santa Claus. Can we make that movie now? By the way, that's awesome.
It has to be new, like the Bad Santa 2.
Katt Williams is a guy. You can't teach what he's doing here. Where simply his voice and cadence is what is making him hilarious. I mean, like, he'll get into some of the things he's saying is also hilarious. But just the way he talks, like, you could listen to him read the Bible and you'd be laughing.
I know.
It's an intangible that very few people have. It really is incredible.
It's like when I love that story when Kevin Hart was bombing once and Patrice O'Neal threw a dictionary at him and told him to read it. It would be funny.
It was a phone book.
Or a phone book.
Read that.
If Katt Williams picked up the phone book and started reading it, it would be hilarious.
Yes.
Story is the Ricky Smiley that couldn't even do curse words because he had a Christian fan base. He was gonna play the pimp. Why you didn't ask him why has he played a woman in more movies than he's played a man?
Well, I didn't know
he shouldn't be.
Hold on. Go back just a little bit because I want to address what he's actually saying. But I like that he's just like on, former NFL tight end Shannon Sharpe show. And he's like, why didn't you ask the appropriate follow-up? I don't know, he's got fucking CTE, Cat. Give him a break.
He's drooling as you're asking.
Why didn't you ask him? He's not a skilled interviewer. I don't know.
Couldn't even do curse words because he had a Christian fan base. He was gonna play the pimp. Why you didn't ask him why has he played a woman in more movies than he's played a man?
Well, I didn't know
He shouldn't be able. You wouldn't let a athlete that been on steroids talk about one of the greats.
Is the dress the steroids in this analogy?
I think so.
I'm trying to
Performance
figure out.
enhancers, which he does kind of get into, I think, in the next clip.
Well, so this is a big thing with Katt Williams is the dress. He talks about, I don't think we have the clip of him talking about Martin Lawrence also,
No.
where he's like, Martin Lawrence promised me that he would put me in these movies. The next thing I know, I look at the script, he's got me in a dress. And he's like, I said, let Brandon T. Jackson play that role. just ricochet shots all over the place. Now, I think there are more ricochet shots than actual bullets being fired.
Yeah. It's like, I'm sorry about that. Well,
So who do we have now? Cedric?
This is him talking about the dress.
Oh, okay. All right.
He was so egregious. I put in my contract that I won't work with Ricky Smiley again unless he's in a dress.
There's no way. There's no way that holds up legally.
Could it, though?
Your Honor, clearly my client, Mr. Williams, stated.
It's like, I mean,
he would only work with Mr. Smiley if he was dressed up like a little girl. If he had pigtails and a comically large lollipop. That's the only situation.
I bet someone will find out if this is true. And if it is, that'll be amazing.
That's the greatest. Imagine putting that in, like, just some stiff lawyer has to put that in print.
It's like
Only under the conditions that...
It's like a contractor who bids like 4 times what the job is worth and gets it.
Ricky Smiley will wear a dress in perpetuity.
I put in my contract that I won't work with Ricky Smiley again unless he's in a dress. Now, what was Ricky Smiley's next movie? Was it First Sunday? Did he wear a dress in it? You bet he did. It's in my contract.
Why would you put that in your contract, Cat?
That's where he's the...
Kennan's mystified.
Yeah, that was a good question. The tone and the question. It's like, why would you do this?
Yeah. Why are you bullying this man?
He's like, he was just sitting on that couch. I'm friends with him.
And so I don't understand his gripe with Ricky Smiley. I don't know enough about the situation. I don't know a lot about Ricky Smiley. Shame on me. But it seems like he's punishing Ricky Smiley because he knew in the future that Ricky would claim he was up for Katt's role, which I don't even get the grievance with that. What's the issue? That's how a lot of movies, you hear that all the time where it's like, well, we originally auditioned this man for this part and we realized so-and-so would be better, so we moved him over here.
That makes me think that there's truth to him being up for that role. It's like, I can't have this out.
I'd love to know if that's just how, like, Hollywood has been for years. Like, Wahlberg is like, I'm not gonna work with fucking The Rock unless he's dressed like a little girl.
Unless he's only in tank tops that make him look huge.
Put that in your contract, Cat.
That's where he's the unbelievable actor.
That's great.
Him and Tyler Perry can't play a man to save their life. They play good women, and I believe that the best actor should be in the best role.
The way the comedic time, the genius of Katt, the way he just takes a sip there.
I know.
They play good women. It's very that's a great movie script, like a mafia scene. Just Tony Soprano is like, hey, you ever seen him wear men's clothes? I don't think so.
It's like when they told Bobby Bacala he's playing Santa Claus.
The implications that he makes about so many of these, he's like, and Shannon doesn't, ask any follow-ups. So Katt Williams has the freedom to just go, I don't know, you ever seen him dress like a man and be good in a movie? I didn't think so.
What was his next movie, Shannon?
It's in his contract. That can't be legally binding, but what do I know about the law?
There's a chance it is, which is hilarious.
That's great. Yeah, that's old school Hollywood, baby.
Next is Steve Harvey and Cedric.
He really, I think more than anyone, he hates Steve Harvey. I would say. I'm trying to rank the hatred that he has in this interview. I would say Cedric and Steve are probably
1 and 1.
Two and 1. Yeah, I think Steve is probably number 1. But listen for yourselves.
Cedric did the same thing. Cedric told
Oh,
you.
sorry. I should set it up a little better. For those of you that haven't listened to every episode of Why You Laughing, which you should. We did an episode on the original Kings of Comedy. And we talked about this situation where Cedric and Katt have had beef. Katt Williams claims Cedric stole a joke from him. And Cedric says the timeline doesn't line up correctly. Katt claims it does. And I've since seen videos that I think kind of prove Katt's point. But that's where this all stems from, is joke stealing.
Cedric did the same thing. Cedric told you when you asked him, did you steal Katt Williams' joke? Yeah. He said, it don't line up. How it don't line up that I did it on TV?
At the end of the day, what Katt Williams is really doing is just calling Shannon out over and over again for being a bad interviewer. He's like, here's another guest you had on that you didn't ask them.
Here's another big miss of yours. I'm going to point it out right on your own show.
Let's point out Shannon swings and misses. He has Ricky Smiley on, didn't ask him about the dress. He has Cedric on, doesn't ask him about the joke.
Shannon looks jacked out of his mind right now, like, I'm going to fucking kill you as he's like, doing this.
There are so many pauses in this interview where Shannon is like, I'm just in. I think even Shannon knows, like, I'm in over my head here. Like, this should be handled by Mike Wallace. Like, I don't know who has the ability to interview this man.
This interview just wipes Shannon's brain. He's got to catch up on YouTube like the rest of us.
Yeah.
How it don't line up that I did it on TV in 2018? You came to see me at the Comedy Store doing
I will, they get to this later, by the way, just so everyone knows. He just fucks up the years. He says 2018 and 2020 or something like that. They later ask him, and I kind of knew this was he just said the years wrong because there's something involving Steve Harvey in 2018. He means like 98 and 2000. So he just fucked up. It was just a mistake.
In 2019, and then did it on the Kings of Comedy. Like, what doesn't line up? This is a televised joke that Mark Curry helped me punch up and get to the level that it was. The same Steve that went to go watch Mark Curry do his whole sitcom and then stole everything Mark Curry had. Now Steve got a sitcom where he the principal and he wear a suit and then he gets.
Okay, so here he's saying, if you don't know Mark Curry, I believe that's Hanging with Mr. Cooper, right?
I don't know, actually.
I'm pretty sure. And Katt is suggesting, which if you go back and look, it's like, I guess that is the exact same plot, where the Steve Harvey show is just a ripoff of Hanging with Mr. Cooper.
It is. Yep.
Fade, making all black men think he got the best lineup in the business, and it's a man unit. Then you asked it, why you not a movie star? I didn't want to be.
Can I defend Steve Harvey for a second?
Of course.
Did people think that was his real hair? It was a perfect square.
It was. I don't know how it would possibly stay that.
It would be insane if it looked like that.
You go to the barber, you're like, I know what I need.
Give me the Steve Harvey. Give me the perfect cardboard box.
This the same Negro that hated on Bernie with this same thing. I didn't want to be a movie star. No, you couldn't be a movie star. There are 30,000 new scripts in Hollywood every year. Not one of them asks for a country bumpkin black dude that can't talk good, baby, and look like Mr. Potato Head. There ain't none. You have to have a range. Hold
on again, where Katt has some great ideas. I sure would like to see that movie.
He does look like Mr. Potato Head.
This summer, a country bumpkin that can't read.
That sounds like it has racist implications, so this better be a black film.
Also, I feel like Steve Harvey hosts like 40 shows. I think he can talk pretty well.
Well, most of the clips, yeah, sure.
I mean, I understand he fucks up sometimes, but like he's a good host.
Like if he was writing us super chats, there'd be some spelling mistakes for sure.
Oh, there's Craig's racism.
I played a lot of characters, 60 movie roles. I'm not playing Katt Williams in there.
I don't know.
Yeah,
Kat, we might not let you drink anymore the way you. I mean, we ain't even got.
I'm not fueled by alcohol. I've had a sip, less than you.
And when he has a sip, it's to drive home a point.
It's for dramatic pausing only.
He only has a sip for dramatic effect. And then he's, again, another ricochet shot where he's like, less than you, Shannon, drunk off your ass.
Well, they each have a bottle of Hennessy, and Shannon's is way more empty.
There's a point where Shannon just fucking is pouring a drink. He's like, I can't take this anymore.
Stop, please.
I like that he calls Steve Harvey a country bumpkin, but he also indicated that, I guess, according to Katt, Bernie Mac was he in all the Ocean's movies? I don't know, whichever role he played in, like Ocean's 11 or 12 or whichever one he was in. I guess what Katt was suggesting is that Steve called up and tried to get Bernie out of that film and take his role. That's what he was suggesting with the Bernie Mac stuff there. Very interesting. Kings of comedy stabbing each other in the back.
That's dirty.
Yeah. I would say Bernie's definitely a better actor. I love Bernie Mac as an actor. Like, I don't think Steve Harvey is a great actor necessarily. He's a good host, though. You got to give him that. A
good
country
game show host,
bumpkin.
for sure. Now all I see is Mr. Potato Head.
Alcohol, I've had a sip, less than you. The truth don't need motivation. I'm just saying I can't let these dudes lie. Cedric's sitting here telling you why he ain't a movie star. He over here look like a walrus. You didn't say nothing. He can't even get his arms off his stomach sitting over here. Why I'm not a movie star. What?
It's a situation.
He never wrote anything. Remember, when Cedric the Entertainer starts, he's supposed to be singing, dancing, and telling jokes. That's why he's called the Entertainer.
Right.
We found out he can't sing, can't dance, and doesn't write jokes. He did 4 comedy specials. They're so bad, Shannon, they're not available on Netflix or Tubi. Can I say that again for the audience? They're so bad that they're not available on Netflix or Tubi.
I thought he did have a Netflix special, didn't he?
I'll check right now. We're just fact checking Katt Williams. This can't all be right.
I will defend Shannon Sharpe for a moment, is that he's burdened with the task of defending black comedy over the last 20 years. He's getting names just tossed at him he has to defend.
Can we please talk about Chappelle? I got that one.
Well, Chappelle's the only guy that he likes. Chappelle's
really?
the only guy that he defends. I think Chappelle was good to him. And it seems like we did an episode on this as well. The black men playing roles that make them wear a dress. That was a big part of the whole Chappelle show thing. Like when he came back, he talked a lot about the idea that the industry wants him in a dress. Katt Williams kind of claims that he planted that seed in Chappelle's head, basically. Like that all came from the kind of this theory that Katt Williams has. I still don't fully understand it, because I get what they're saying is that they're trying to, emasculate them or something. But if you look at the amount of like white men, just on SNL, the amount of white men that have played women, I don't quite understand. It's a silly image. Imagine a Craig in a dress right now. That's a fun. We're all laughing. That's a fun image.
Having a good time.
Yeah, yeah.
Cedric the Entertainer, live from the Ville on Netflix.
Yeah. Well, guys, I hate to break the fourth wall, but it seems Katt Williams may have been telling half-truths.
I don't like this. That means there's something up with the dress in the contract, possibly.
Who knows? Who knows if Ricky Smiley was ever up for this role? I have no idea.
Does he exist? Next, we have him talking about Kevin Hart.
All right, working his way towards more modern times now.
He's just going in. He's got a timeline.
He's going in chronological order. Yeah.
Guy Torrey did a beautiful special about the Comedy Store and Fat Tuesday, where he said that Steve and Cedric and Kevin Hart and Tiffany Haddish came through there and made all lies. Steve.
Okay, hold on a second. Guy Torrey, another ricochet shot, where he says Guy Torrey made a beautiful special about the Comedy Store that was full of lies.
Nothing happened.
It was beautiful how chock full of lies this thing was.
Came through there and made All lies. Steve and Cedric never performed at the Comedy Store at all. Tiffany was only seen at the Laugh Factory. In 15 years in Hollywood, no one in Hollywood has a memory of going to a sold-out Kevin Hart show. There being a line for
Hold on a second.
He did just sell out Lincoln Financial Stadium.
He sells out football fields. Now, if you were at a football stadium and there were a few seats empty, I'm not gonna nitpick there.
No.
You know, come on. Maybe technically not every seat was full, but come on. The guy sold 80,000 tickets. No one remember. No, I think what he's saying is that, and he's gonna get to his point, but he's saying in the early days of Kevin Hart, he was not like this crazy successful comedian.
Isn't that how they all work out, though?
Yeah, I guess that's a good point.
Isn't that the trajectory of comics? Even
I guess
Matt
that's a
Rife
fair
wasn't
point.
selling out clubs at first.
I remember when no one listened to Tim Dillon's podcast. I guess he actually made a good point. Yeah, that is. So he worked his way to fame, is what you're saying, Kat. But no, he has a different theory.
a standing ovation at any comedy club. He already had his deals when he got here. Have we heard of a comedian that came to LA and in his first year in LA, he had his own sitcom on network television and had his own movie called Soul Plane that he was leading? No, we've never heard of that before that person or since that person. What do you think a plant is?
Didn't that happen to Bert Kreischer and Joe Rogan?
Well, they're industry plants.
Oh, right.
He gets to Rogan as well. So Kevin Hart responded to this and was like, you got to get rid of that hate in your heart, Kat, and then just promoted his movie, which is kind of funny.
He promoted Katt's movie?
No, promoted Kevin's movie.
Oh.
He's like, anyways, in the meantime, watch the trailer for my new Netflix movie. Which is kind of funny. But there's this rivalry has been going on for years, because I saw a clip from the Breakfast Club that was going around from, I think, 5 or 6 years ago, where they asked him about some of the Katt Williams stuff. And Kevin really goes off on Katt back then, where he's like, why do you think Katt's not as successful as me? It's not because he's not as funny. It's because he doesn't work as hard. He doesn't show up to like things he's supposed to do to promote movies or promote gigs, whatever. He just blows them off. So that's Kevin's point, is like, I'm a harder worker than you. There's not a conspiracy, you know?
Everyone does know and acknowledge that you are funny, Katt Williams.
Yeah, like Katt Williams is one of the funniest guys ever. Just a natural, like, listen to him right now. He's hysterical.
He's not even saying anything.
But he kind of acts like there's this conspiracy around him, when I think he just, he does what he wants, which historically, and, you can say there's problems in the industry with this, and I understand that. But historically, guys that just do whatever the fuck they want don't have as good a career as Kevin Hart, who does everything he's supposed to do and shows up. And I watched that Chris Rock, Kevin Hart documentary they just put out on Netflix. I thought it was going to be like, who gives a shit? It was actually pretty good. And Kevin Hart I like that he mentions like Voss and Norton and Colin Quinn and all those like New York guys.
He's been interacting with them on Twitter a lot more lately.
Yeah. Always funny to see him finally give Big J props.
He's like, sorry this took so long.
Hey, you've really come a long way.
Because it was funny because he was talking about Shane Gillis, and he's like, this is like some of the funniest shit I've ever seen.
He's like, no, this is comedy.
Yeah. Bobby Kelly's like, what about your good friend Big J?
Well, that's what's weird to me is like, I've heard Big J talk about this, and I think it's an interesting point where when the Chris Rock, Will Smith thing happened, Kevin Hart was doing some interview where he gets like tearful, and he's like, I mean, man, those are both my brothers. Those are two of my best friends. And Big J's like, brothers? Like, these are considered your brother? Like, Jay's name was on Kevin's phone bill because Kevin didn't have good enough credit or something. Will Smith is your brother? Like, that's crazy to me. But I think when you're in that level of fame, there are, you can only relate to certain people, really. Like, it's
right.
hard to fucking go to an Eagles game with Jay Okerson when you're going to get mobbed because you've played there yourself.
Right.
So I understand that. Like, Kevin's at a like crazy different level. But anyways, his back to his beef with Katt. Was that the end of that clip?
Nope.
All right, let's hear
Maybe people don't understand the definitions of these words. He just did his documentary with Chris Rock where he shows you that his whole upbringing in comedy was on the East Coast.
Yeah, it was.
So how simultaneously was he here in Los Angeles doing the same thing?
Planes, airplanes.
Yeah, there's these. They've been around for quite some time.
Yeah, he flew back and forth, I think is the answer. Here's the thing. Like, I want to agree with Katt. It's just logically, it doesn't quite make sense. Wait, Kevin Hart is a plant. Why? Now, if you want to say Kevin Hart is more famous than Katt Williams because he's safer, I mean, clearly that's the case.
Obviously, yeah, he's
Like,
not. Kevin Hart's not smacking up cashiers at like dollar stores.
No one would say Kevin Hart's a better. I mean, maybe some people would, but I don't think anyone in their right mind really would say Kevin Hart's a funnier human being than Katt Williams.
I think Kevin Hart's funny. It's like
I don't think Kevin Hart's unfunny, but I watch his specials and I don't understand the football stadiums. That's what doesn't compute to me. Is like, this seems fairly bland. Like, it doesn't. There's nothing that stands out to me as like, oh my god, this is a generational talent.
yeah, when he was doing stand up full time, I thought he could have been on that trajectory, but then he stopped and was doing like weird sets and then kind of shooting specials without having really worked on the stuff.
Yeah, and I also think he's like a funny actor. Like, I always thought he would have been perfect. He was actually offered the role of Brandon T. Jackson in Tropic Thunder.
Oh, was he?
Which makes sense when you go back and watch that movie. And it's funny, like, at that time, this is how much things have changed. Kevin didn't want to play the role because that character ends up being gay.
He's got a big thing with that. He keeps getting caught in that web.
Yeah, it's interesting. It seems like, I don't know what the similarity. Katt Williams, Kevin Hart, Dave Chappelle. I don't know. It seems like they don't want to play those roles for some reason. I can't quite put my finger on it.
At least Dave Chappelle just comes out and says it.
But yeah, so the other Rogan's name kept getting thrown around. Like, every headline I saw was Katt Williams attacks Joe Rogan and Kevin Hart, and like, but Joe Rogan was always in there. And so I had to listen to the full 2 hours and 49 minutes to find this Rogan thing. I didn't even bother pulling the clip because basically what he says is, Joe Rogan doesn't want to have me on his podcast. He'll have 6 guys on that are not as funny as me. And Rogan responded and was like, Katt, we talk about you all the time. I would love to have you on. Like,
Please come here.
Please. Like, Rogan would love that. He's always talked about how much he likes Katt Williams.
Constantly.
So I don't know who that was a shot at, if it was the Protect Our Parks guys or just the idea that, I'm guessing it's the fact that Rogan has propped up guys like Brendan Schaub and Brian Callen, and a lot of people would say Bert Kreischer and people like that. Chris D'Elia, by the way. But the fact that like Rogan propped up guys like that you would argue maybe aren't as funny as their careers would indicate. I think that's probably who Katt was talking about. But I mean, he also had Chappelle on, so by Katt's standard, like, Rogan will definitely have you on.
Yeah, I mean, why wouldn't he have him on? He's got, like, he had an Alex Jones on. I think he's fine with it.
But that was compared to some of these, that was a minor. It was kind of a way of just complimenting Shannon Sharpe. He's like, Rogan won't have me on, so I'll do this podcast.
I'll do the next biggest thing.
I was looking at these numbers. I was like, and I went back to see some of the, like, when Ricky Smiley was on and some of the other podcasts he mentioned. Shannon Sharpe's podcast consistently gets like millions of views.
Yeah, he's like huge.
Why?
Ever since he left Fox Sports, he like blew up.
I don't understand why.
The Stephen A effect, man. I mean, when he keeps calling him Skip and he gets pissed and punches the desk, it's pretty funny. So people probably
that was a great moment, but that doesn't make you listen to his podcast every week. I just don't get the numbers, but
yeah,
good for Shannon, I guess.
I get the numbers on this one for sure. Everyone
is
likes
he on his is he on his own, or is he part of some corporation?
It's his own YouTube channel.
Yeah, but I was trying to remember if he left.
He's on the yeah. I guess this wouldn't be a ESPN podcast.
You don't think Disney's sponsoring this interview?
No.
Here, Katt, have some Hennessy and go off on comedy.
There's nothing about anything but Shannon Sharpe in the descriptions or links or anything. I think he's on his own.
Oh, good for him, I guess. That's
Yeah, it's
impressive.
2.13 million subscribers on YouTube. Shannon
That's
Sharpe.
wild.
That's
Yeah.
crazy. Next we have Harvey Weinstein.
Here's where we get into some good stuff. Here's where Katt makes some implications that I don't care how true they are. I'm willing to buy them.
I believe it.
They canceled me for talking about Harvey Weinstein before the thing came out, but he offered to suck my penis in front of all my people at my age.
I've never heard that.
Suck my penis.
People have said a lot of things about Harvey Weinstein. I've never heard, come on, just let me suck your cock. Come on, man. You want this role, don't you? Just let me suck your cock. I've heard Harvey do a lot of devious things. I haven't heard that one yet. That's interesting.
It's a nice new twist.
It kind of reframes. Maybe you could say he was ahead of his time. He was progressive.
I gotta say, all these boring Harvey Weinstein stories. This is quite refreshing.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, come on. He jerked off into a plant. Like, we haven't heard that before.
Yeah,
this is the good stuff. Did he offer to suck your cock?
They canceled me for talking about Harvey Weinstein before the thing came out, but he offered to suck my penis in front of all my people at my agency. What am I supposed to?
Excuse me, everyone. If you could give me your ear, I'd like to suck Katt Williams' cock.
Someone named Stacy's just making a copy right next to it. Like, what the fuck?
He just starts talking. He's like, if everyone could, and then he just looks over at someone making copies. He's like, oh, sorry, Harvey. I'll give you my full attention.
Like a proposal.
To the people of Miramax, if you could all listen to me for a moment, I've got some big news. If Katt, if Katt unzips his fly here, you're gonna have yourselves the next Will Smith. This guy's gonna be big.
What am I supposed to do? He did all of that. I'm thinking I'm the only black person on the script. I get there, it's 3 other black guys on there. Woo. Huh.
So you wonder what they did to get it.
I told him no. What y'all do?
Now Shannon's having fun. He's just like, well, whatever. We can bash Harvey Weinstein.
He's a good way through his bottle of Hennessy. He's just having fun.
What did they do?
Shannon Sharpe's getting in on it.
Boy, Harvey Weinstein was a busy guy, man.
He's just bored.
You gotta applaud. And this guy's schedule was always chock full.
He's quite big for a guy that's on the move that much.
You can't call him lazy,
This is the last clip.
This is another. So he's talking about P Diddy, and we've heard some rumors recently about Diddy. Am I wrong? Sean Combs.
Yep.
There have been some rumors about some of his parties, and Katt, yet again, ahead of the curve.
Like, no, not they offered him $50 million and he turned it down. Who gonna turn down $50 million? Now, I've had to turn down $50 million 4 times.
Okay, well, that's another one I loved. He's talking about Chappelle. He's talking about Chappelle turning down $50 million. Who's gonna turn down $50 million? Other than me, Quattro. 4 times. I could have had $200 million, but no thank you.
4 times, just to protect my integrity and that virgin hole I was telling you about. Right. Because P Diddy be wanting to party. And you gotta tell him no. You got to tell him no. I did. Got the receipts for everything I'm telling you. That's why I can say them so freely.
Shannon's losing it.
Shannon, his follow-ups weren't always great. His reactions were, come on, Katt.
He just tried to leave and he just started pouring another glass of Hennessy.
Shannon's just like, leave the bottle.
They each have their own.
Can we go back a little? I want to hear that again.
Yeah.
Now, I've had to turn down $50 million 4 times. 4 times, just to protect my integrity and that virgin hole I was telling you about.
I want to know which was more important.
What's that?
I want to know which was more important, his integrity or his virgin hole.
Well, judging by
Which
him,
would he have sold out first, I guess, is what I'm asking.
I think his integrity. That virgin hole staying that way forever.
I'm not spreading my cheeks, Sean. I'll give you my integrity.
No fingers going near this.
Because P Diddy be wanting to party, and you gotta tell him no. You got to tell him no. I did. I did. See, I got the receipts for everything I'm telling you. That's why I can say them so freely.
Yeah, I like that he says he has the receipts, which indicates that. Sean, could you say that again into the microphone, please? I'd like that for my my receipts.
Or he's got a picture of Diddy's mouth around his cock.
Giving a thumbs up, like, yeah,
See,
it's me.
I only did this for the picture, just for proof.
So Katt's taking no prisoners.
I'm gonna have to go listen to this whole thing.
It's 2 hours and 49 minutes, I think. So it's quite long, but it's a lot of that. And they get into his life at times and stuff like that. So I want to do a Katt Williams. Why are you laughing? So I'm sure I'll revisit this at some point for some of the early stuff that he talks about. But
Good.
it was a doozy. Yeah, I definitely recommend. So they put out some of the segments too, which also have millions of views. So like you can find just the him talking about Steve Harvey and Cedric and that sort of stuff in an easier way. So, by the way, guys, don't forget, subscribe on YouTube. We're supposed to say that a lot. So
Subscribe on YouTube.
Become a member if you'd like, or go to blindmike.net for the Patreon.
We gotta get Katt Williams on the show.
Yeah, I think I would just do what Coach HP does if I had Katt on.
I mean, I wouldn't blame you.
Katt, how did you get to be the greatest of all time? Please, and just let him go off.
Yeah, I would do the Shannon Sharpe where I take a nice inhale, like I'm going to say something, and then Katt's going to interrupt me and just drop something huge.
Yeah, and he's a guy that you can listen to for 2.5 hours. So,
Oh, easily.
So go check it out.